Okay, so I have my polynomial here, x cubed plus 3x squared plus 2x plus 6, and I want to factor it. And I know when I have 4 terms, I'm going to be factoring by grouping. And so my first step is I'm going to group the terms into pairs. So I'm just going to put parentheses around these. And I want to factor the GCF out of each pair. So looking at my first pair, I have x cubed plus 3x squared. So I want to find the GCF. So first, this one doesn't have a coefficient in front of it. It's just a 1. So my GCF of 1 and 3 is just going to be 1. My GCF for my variables is going to be the smaller exponent, so it'll be 2. So that means that this GCF is just x squared. X cubed divided by x squared, I just get x. 3x squared divided by x squared, I just get 3. And then now I'm going to do the same thing with this second pair. So I want to find the GCF of 2x and 6. Well, the GCF of 2 and 6 is just going to be 2. And then since 6 doesn't have an x with it, x won't be part of my GCF. So my GCF here is just 2. So I'm going to put my plus 2 out in front here and then divide my GCF from both terms. So 2x divided by 2, I get x. 6 divided by 2, I get 3. Now here you know you're doing it right when you have the same thing here. That's what we're looking for. Because now I can go ahead and factor out the common binomial factor. So I'm going to take these that are out in front, x squared plus 2, and they're going to go into their own parentheses, and then x plus 3 at the end. So now going back to that multiplying example, we see we did all of these steps backwards. We started with these 4 terms. We went to here where the GCF was factored out from both, and then they went into their own parentheses. Okay, let's try another one. So now I have 3x cubed minus 6x squared plus x minus 2. I'm going to first group these into pairs. I'm going to find the GCF from my first pair. So GCF of 3 and 6, that's going to be 3. X cubed and x squared, that's going to be x squared. So I'm going to divide both of these by 3x squared. 3 divided by 3, I get 1. X cubed divided by x squared, I get x. Minus 6 divided by 3 is 2. X squared divided by x squared is just 1, so those cancel out. Now here, this one is a little bit tricky. So I have x and 2. Well, the GCF of 1 and 2 is just 1. 2 doesn't have an x with it, so it's also just 1. So whenever there's not really a number GCF, you're just going to factor out a 1. So it's not 0, you'll be factoring out a 1. So I'm going to have a plus 1 right here. And x divided by 1 is just x. Negative 2 divided by 1 is just negative 2. And now for my last step, I'm going to take my GCFs that are on the outside, and they're going to go into their own parentheses. And then my common binomial will go on to this side. Okay, let's try another one. This one's also going to have something a little bit different with it. So I want to group these again. The GCF of 3 and 6 is 3. The GCF of x squared and x is just x. So I want to divide both of those by 3x. 3 divided by 3 is 1. X squared divided by x is x. 6x divided by 3x, I just get 2. Now here I have a negative in my first term. And we never want that to happen. I do not want a negative. So whenever there's a negative out in front, you're going to be dividing by a negative GCF. So looking at the GCF of negative 4x and 8, that's going to be negative 4. So whenever it's negative there, you're going to be factoring out a negative GCF. And then I put my GCFs into their own parentheses. And you can always check your work by multiplying those two out and see if you get your original answer. Okay, go ahead and pause the video. I want you to try and do number 4. So the answer you should have gotten here was 5x minus 1 times 2x plus 1. This one was again tricky. I do not want a negative in front of my first term, so I had to factor out a negative. But since this one doesn't have a number GCF, it's just going to be a negative 1 that I'm taking out. And so then that makes these match up, 2x plus 1, 2x plus 1, and I get that answer.